Hello, and welcome to the Warfighter Wire, your weekly roundup of the latest news and developments from across the United States and the Department of Defense. I'm your host, and today is August 16th. This week, we saw the Pentagon making major moves on homeland defense, multi-billion-dollar investments to restock our arsenals, and a landmark launch that signals a new era for national security in space. From high-stakes presidential diplomacy in Alaska to cutting-edge drone warfare tests, there is a lot to cover, so let's get right into it. The Department of Defense took significant and highly visible steps this week to bolster domestic security, highlighting a major strategic priority for the current administration. On August 14th, the Pentagon announced the mobilization of about 800 D.C. National Guard members to support a safe and beautiful task force in the nation's capital. Operating under Title 32 status, these troops will support federal and local law enforcement with a wide range of tasks, including providing security for federal monuments, protecting federal facilities, and manning traffic control points. Pentagon Press Secretary Kingsley Wilson stated the mission's goal is to address lawlessness and crime. For now, the Guardsmen will be unarmed and are not authorized to make arrests, but they can temporarily detain individuals entering restricted areas until law enforcement arrives. This mission is being compared to a recent deployment in Los Angeles, which the Pentagon says was successful in reducing large-scale protests. In a parallel development, the DoD has also approved the use of land at Fort Bliss, Texas, to build a large-scale migrant detention facility at the request of the Department of Homeland Security. Work has already begun on the center, which will initially hold 1,000 individuals and is planned to expand to a capacity of 5,000, making it the largest federal detention center in the U.S. history. These moves signal a significant pivot, leveraging DoD assets to address domestic challenges like urban crime and immigration. On the international stage, the DoD provided logistical and ceremonial support for a high-stakes summit in Anchorage, Alaska, between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin on August 15th. The meeting, held at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, aimed to find a path to end the war in Ukraine and marked Putin's first visit to a Western nation since the invasion of 2022. As the leaders met, the U.S. Air Force conducted a flyover with 4 F-22 Raptors and a B-2 stealth bomber. The Army awarded Lockheed Martin 2 huge contracts, one for $4.23 billion for their production of a Guided Multiple Launch Rocket System, or GMLRS, and another for $720.1 million for Hellfire and Joint Air-to-Ground Missiles. These awards are aimed at replenishing stockpiles of critical precision-guided weapons. In a strategic shift, the DoD's new Office of Strategic Capital made its first-ever direct loan, investing in MP Materials, a key U.S. rare earth mining company. This move represents a change from the DoD being just a customer to a direct financial investor, aiming to secure the domestic supply chain for critical materials essential for military technology. The Air Force is undergoing a profound transformation, betting its future on the speed and quality of decision-making. This week, the service focused heavily on advanced command and control, artificial intelligence, and new cyber capabilities. The U.S. Air Force Center at Nellis Air Force Base concluded a major exercise called Bamboo Eagle 25-3 on August 10th. This exercise was specifically designed to test advanced command and control concepts in a realistic multi-domain scenario that simulates a conflict with a peer adversary. Building on key lessons from exercises like this, the Air Force announced on August 15th that it is moving away from traditional tabletop war games and towards more complex AI-driven war drills. The goal is to better model the incredible speed and complexity of modern warfare to prepare commanders for the future fight. To fuel this pivot to AI, the Air Force awarded a $4.7 million contract to the University of Florida on August 12th to develop a sophisticated AI and machine learning system. Researchers will be embedded with the government software teams at Eglin Air Force Base to ensure their work directly meets operational needs for campaign analysis and decision-making. On the organizational front, the Air Force selected Joint Base McGuire-Dix-Lakehurst in New Jersey as a home for a new Air National Guard Cyber Operations Squadron, boosting the service's focus on its critical cyber domain. These developments, advanced C2 exercises, the adoption of AI wargaming, and direct investments in AI tools show a holistic effort to accelerate the OODA loop, observe, orient, decide, and act. The Air Force is making a strategic bet that future wars will be won not just by superior aircraft, but by superior algorithms and data integration. This was a landmark week for the U.S. Space Force and for America's assured access to space. On August 13th, United Launch Alliance's new Vulcan rocket conducted its first ever spaceforce certified national security launch. Lifting off from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, the mission designated USSF-106 successfully delivered at least 2 military satellites to geosynchronous orbit. This was a critical step in transitioning away from the old Atlas V rockets and a reliance on the Russian-made RD-180 engines. A key payload on this historic flight was the Air Force Research Laboratory's Navigation Technology Satellite 3, or NTS-3. This experimental satellite is a top research priority, and it is designed to test next-generation technologies for positioning, navigation, and timing, what we all know as PNT. With upgraded atomic clocks and new signal technologies, NTS-3 aims to develop a more accurate and jam-proof successor to the GPS systems we rely on today. This is the Pentagon's first dedicated experimental navigation satellite since the programs that created the original GPS back in the 1970s. The week's space activity also highlighted the deep integration with the commercial sector. On August 11th, a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launched 24 satellites from Amazon's Project Kuiper broadband internet constellation from Cape Canaveral. Together, these events showcase the 3 pillars of the U.S. space strategy. The Vulcan launch solidifies assured access to space with 2 certified American providers. The NTS-3 satellite demonstrates a commitment to technological superiority for proactively developing the next generation of GPS. And the SpaceX launch highlights a deep commercial integration, leveraging private sector innovation to build a more robust and resilient space ecosystem. The U.S. Army was engaged in a diverse set of missions this week, from high-tech warfare development to critical support missions here at home. In a major technological breakthrough, the Army announced on August 15th that it had successfully conducted a first-of-its-kind drone-on-drone takedown. This successful test is a critical development in countering the pervasive threat of small, lethal drones that have become a defining feature of modern battlefields. This new capability suggests a future where dedicated hunter-killer drone squadrons could protect ground forces, creating a mobile, adaptive defense against enemy UAS. It also presents a potentially more cost-effective solution than using expensive surface-to-air missiles to take down small drones. Domestically, the Army National Guard was busy across the country. In Alaska, Guard members conducted 2 separate rescue missions at the start of sheep hunting season. In Wyoming, Guard units held an exercise focused on aeromedical evacuation readiness, and as wildfires rage across the West, 2 C-130 air tankers equipped with the Modular Airborne Firefighting System, or MAFFS, were deployed to Colorado and another 2 to Arizona to support national firefighting efforts. Meanwhile, the U.S. Army Research held its massive combat support training exercise, dubbed Global Strike, at Fort McCoy, Wisconsin, with approximately 7,000 soldiers honing their skills for the future battlefield. And in Europe, soldiers from the 21st Theater Sustainment Command participated in a forest protection exercise in Germany to ensure installation security and readiness. The Navy is laser-focused on countering the growing subsurface threat from peer adversaries, and this week saw major advancements in technology and strategy to maintain dominance in the undersea domain. On the technology front, the Defense Contract Management Agency announced the delivery of the first fully modified P-8A Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft on August 14th. This aircraft is the first to receive the Increment 3 Block 2 upgrade, which significantly boosts the lethality and mission capability of the Navy's premier anti-marine warfare platform. Underpinning this hardware upgrade, the Navy unveiled a new strategic initiative on August 15th to weaponize data and artificial intelligence. This signals a formal move to treat information as a critical warfighting capability on par with ships and missiles. Advanced anti-submarine warfare is a data-heavy challenge, requiring the processing of vast amounts of sensor information to find quiet submarines. This new AI strategy, combined with the upgraded P-8A, shows a multifaceted response to the narrowing technological edge in undersea warfare. The fleet remained active globally, demonstrating this focus. In the Middle East, the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group arrived in Bahrain for a port visit on August 10th, providing a significant presence in the Persian Gulf. In the Atlantic, the aircraft carrier USS Harry S. Truman was conducting routine operations off the coast of Virginia, including major ammunition offload at sea. And in the Southcom area of responsibility, the hospital ship USNS Comfort concluded its final mission stop in Trinidad for the Continuing Promise 2025 humanitarian deployment on August 11th. The Marine Corps showcased its role as a globally deployed expeditionary force in readiness this week, while also demonstrating how it's adapting its mission set for future conflicts. A key development occurred in the Indo-Pacific, where the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit participated in an operational anti-submarine warfare ASW mission. In a unique demonstration of joint capability, the MEU's MV-22B Ospreys teamed up with the Navy's MH-60R Seahawk helicopters to distribute sono buoys, directly contributing to the undersea domain awareness picture. This is a significant event showing the Corps is actively finding creative and flexible new methods to contribute to high-end naval fights, distributing the ASW mission across a wider and more diverse range of platforms. This forward-thinking approach was backstopped by a constant state of global readiness. In the Indo-Pacific, the 31st MAU, embarked on the USS America Amphibious Ready Group ARG, was actively conducting flight operations in the Philippine Sea. In the Atlantic, the 22nd MAU, designated as Special Operations Capable, departed from Norfolk, Virginia aboard the Iwo Jima ARG for a regularly scheduled global deployment on August 14th. Finally, let's look at the future of warfare being developed by DARPA and the current strategic posture of our combatant commands. The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, announced two major milestones. On August 12th, it revealed a creation of the world's largest real-time electronic warfare test range. This fully software-defined system will allow for rigorous testing of next-gen EW systems in a dense virtual environment. A day earlier, the agency christened a new large unmanned surface vessel named the Defiant, part of a program to revolutionize shipbuilding and accelerate the Navy's move to hybrid manned-unmanned fleet. Indo-Pacific Command remains the priority theater. The commander's leader, Admiral Samuel Papero, hosted a high-level conference in Hawaii to discuss regional strategy. U.S. Marines also concluded a major exercise with the Republic of Korea counterparts. In European Command, the U.S. Army began Exercise Eagle Partner 2025 in America, a military-to-military partnership aimed at preparing Armenian forces for international peacekeeping missions. And in Central Command, the key activity was the arrival of the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group in Bahrain, maintaining a steady naval presence in the region. This global snapshot shows a clear allocation of strategic attention, with the main focus on the long-term competition in the Indo-Pacific, while using tailored engagements to build partnerships and maintain stability elsewhere. Alright, so to wrap everything we've covered today, what are the key takeaways from this week in defense? First, there's a major and very visible pivot towards using the military for domestic missions. The mobilization of the National Guard in D.C. and the construction of a massive new detention facility on a military base show a clear trend of the DoD getting more and more involved here at home. This has huge implications for military resources and the relationship between the military and the public. Second, the theme of strategic competition is no longer just a concept. It's being put into action. We're seeing it with the massive multi-billion-dollar contracts to restock our missile arsenals, the direct financial investment to secure our supply chains for critical minerals, and the successful launch of a new rocket to guarantee our access to space without relying on foreign powers. The DoD is actively building the force and the industrial base required for long-term competition. And finally, the common thread weaving through almost every story this week is the absolute primacy of information, data, and networks. From the Air Force's push into AI-driven wargaming and the Navy's new strategy to weaponize data, to the Army's new drone-killing drones, the message is clear. The future of warfare is all about processing data and making decisions faster than the enemy. Dominating the digital battlefield is now seen as just as critical as controlling the land, sea, and air. It's a department in a state of dynamic change, building the force for a new era while taking on complex new roles right here in the United States. What are your thoughts on these developments? Do you think the military should be more involved in domestic missions? Let us know down in the comments. That is all the time we have for this week. If you found this update informative, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the Warfighter Wire, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a report. Thank you for watching. I'm your host, and we'll see you next week.